3Digital presents Tomorrow's Tech.
Hello and welcome to Tomorrow's Tech. Today we have on our show Linda Ginger. Welcome, Linda.
Thank you for having me.
I think, Linda, you'd agree that in today's constantly changing market, leaders are pushed to harness change confidently and quickly. Now, you are the founder of Autractor. You're a market strategist and innovator. And so I think it's really relevant for the audience to hear how you use data and science to help business leaders confidently launch their ideas. So can you please share with us how you help business leaders ensure their market relevance, competitive edge, and sustainability?
So in short, Sam, it's a challenging time for business leaders to remain relevant and competitive. As you mentioned, we're in an accelerating technological environment.
Absolutely.
We've got globalisation that's happening, so there's competitors coming from everywhere. And then we've also got the changing attitude of customers, which just makes it really difficult to remain relevant and competitive when you're running your own business all at the same time.
How do you do everything all at the same time? Exactly.
That's right. So, business leaders, I guess, the first thing they've got to do is they must keep pace with that market. And the only way they can keep pace with that market is to find and successfully launch new ideas.
It's a big ask, and they're probably quite overwhelmed and frustrated at the situation of how do they move forward. So can you share with us some steps on how they can go from having an idea potentially through to commercialization?
Well, the first thing I say to people is they must validate the idea.
Good step.
Because there's two types of entrepreneurs that have ideas. The first one never brings their great idea to market because they actually don't know what to do next, where to go and who to trust. Then on the other side, we have, entrepreneurs, everyday business leaders who believe they can commercialise or launch their own idea without the appropriate expertise of both commercialisation and, technology expertise.
What's the reason, Linda? There are so many entrepreneurs, particularly in the market that we've seen, that aren't realising their full potential. So what's the reason for that?
And it's frustrating, and I'm going to be talking to you about some research and some science that has been around since 2006, and it's changing the game. I think what is frustrating is that, and it reminds me of Einstein's, quote about, doing the same thing over and over again and hoping you'll get a different result.
It's just on the same mouse wheel over and over.
Precisely. Now, most people don't realise that innovations fail at 70-90%. It's a staggering statistic, and anyone can do a simple Google search and find out that is the statistic. And it's been that way since Thomas Edison. So if we keep doing the same thing we've done constantly, which we are doing, we will never get a different result. Now,
why aren't we challenging ourselves?
Because we haven't had the research or the science before. Now, As I mentioned, in 2006, a very exciting project started at Intel and Harvard Business School. And what they found was that launching ideas and the response to the market is actually highly predictive. And the learnings from that research is being applied to thousands of ideas since that time, and almost tripling the results of innovation outcomes. So if you had previously a traditional success rate of 30%, they're getting 67%.
Wow.
And that is consistently happening year on year. Now, that science is now available for everyday businesses. The everyday heroes that have got successful businesses that now want to launch ideas.
That's a game changer for, as you say, these everyday heroes. I mean, it doesn't need to be someone who's tagged as an entrepreneur. It can be those that are running their business successfully but want to make sure that they stay relevant.
Precisely.
So is there a challenge with having this data and science welcomed within the entrepreneurial ecosystem?
I think that when the research first came out, there was a lot of scepticism that it could be used in the way that it's done. But there's so much evidence now, so many big, large, global companies that are getting these outcomes that it's hard to now not look at the results and take action. And being able to make it now available to the everyday businesses so they can actually transform, have more confidence, launch ideas, and transform their businesses.
And what's your role in working with businesses to connect the data to their specific circumstance?
Well, as I mentioned before, the first thing is to actually get data. Now, this...
How do you do that?
Trust me, entrepreneurial businesses that I've worked for, it's the reluctant thing that they want to do is to get data to be able to, validate their ideas. Now, that could be invalidating, but heck, if it was to invalidate an idea, wouldn't that be worth thousands of...
But isn't it the fear of invalidating an idea?
I think people are in love with ideas, and sometimes you need to have data to objectively look at that and have a logical response to it rather than a subjective way.
But it's a challenge to their idea, which they maybe hold so dear.
That's right. But data can actually also, that same data that they might collect from the market could actually help either improve the original idea they had or find other ideas that may be even more impressive than the first. Like, I don't think there's actually any bad ideas out there. It's what business model did they use? What strategies did they go to market? This is what the science is really showing. It's not really that there's bad ideas out there. It's how they go to market and how they actually augment those ideas into the market.
Absolutely.
Actually is what is increasing their odds of success.
And that time to market you just mentioned is so important, particularly if you're looking to take your idea from the Australian market globally. So can the data help entrepreneurs consider that time to market and that launch beyond Australian borders?
And it's amazing, and you probably experienced this too, Sam, is that most people don't think of their ideas global, or they might have this fascination of going, oh my God, the US is the biggest market ever and we can we'll launch there and get 1%.
Yeah.
That may not be the market that they should go into.
Absolutely. There is a fascination within this culture with the US.
Exactly.
And it may not be fit for purpose in terms of launching that idea.
That's right. So yes, the science can actually inform where that idea might be best appropriated or contextualised into another market. Doesn't mean that it has to be bound to Australia. I mean, I think we should, every business should be looking about not just making that idea for their own business and transforming it solely there. What global opportunities might it solve for elsewhere? And sometimes it isn't the most logical place to go to the US. And yes, the science can actually inform as to which markets might give the greater opportunity. And it may not even be in Australia. It might be in Asia.
That's
it might
true.
be.
That's true. I think we're so used to just thinking about our doorstep, our neighbours.
That's right.
But how about taking it to where it's going to find the purpose and the relevance within the market?
That's right.
Linda, I wanted to ask you, how important is the selection of technology and the capabilities when it comes to executing that idea once it's validated?
Well, technology, if you're not thinking about technology with a new idea these days, you must have rocks in your head because... technology is the thing that is going to enable you to get global access.
Absolutely.
It's the thing that's going to help you disrupt a marketplace.
It's the enabler.
Yeah, it's the enabler of those great ideas. So, technology, most people think, oh my God, technology is technology. It isn't. It isn't. It has to be very bespoke to that idea.
Absolutely. Fit for purpose.
Yes, that's right.
It
and
needs to be.
Contextualising it to the market, the idea. We want to make sure that the intellectual property that is, around that idea is maximised most with the technology.
Because as you would know also, there's not only value to be found in the business, but also in the product that's being developed as well.
That's right. And that's the real value that we're going to bring to business owners and those everyday businesses that wouldn't necessarily have access to that.
And do you find that sometimes you have to have a conversation with businesses because they perceive that they have the technology capabilities in-house?
Yes.
Tricky question.
Yeah, I don't think they really know. And, I can't say I blame them. I mean, technology is accelerating so fast. So you need a partner that is both, got that global mindset with you and knows technology. Not, you can come across some companies that only know one technology. I'd highly recommend you don't go with anybody that is just bound to one technology.
What's the risk?
That you'll only be pigeonholed and you won't get the full realisation of your idea. You need somebody that has the global knowledge, the global expertise and the deep knowledge of technology.
Yes.
People don't understand.
And domain expertise as well, so you can combine the two together.
Precisely. And sometimes you have to go looking for that particular domain expertise. So yes, you could be very pigeonholed and you won't realise the full potential of your idea and how that can be applied with a very bespoke technological choice.
And how do you see technology and commercialisation together? Are they aligned? Do you need to think about them separately or
They have to be
concurrently?
aligned, of course, but you should be thinking about your commercialisation expertise and your technology expertise. They should go hand in hand.
Okay. So, Linda, what is the importance of a minimum viable product, MVP, when you've developed an idea, you've validated it? What is the relevance?
It is the thing that will minimise your risk.
It's really important
Investment
then.
risk. So, a lot of people, and, I've worked for big corporates as well, and often sometimes they'll go, oh my God, we're going to go build this technology platform, and they get a big agreement from a technology company and it's massive and they're like forging ahead. It's actually the wrong approach.
So they're just thinking going from A to B.
Yeah, look, it may have worked 50 years ago when technology wasn't moving so fast, but you need something that's just so agile that by the time you finish the project that you are, you're up to speed with the latest tech.
And that business outcomes have been achieved.
That's right. So minimal viable product, augmented the idea using science. The next step is to build the minimal viable product. So I want to tell viewers, just be careful if someone who goes, hey, here's a big contract and you want to sign away, hundreds of thousands, maybe millions of dollars. No, you want to be able to build a minimal viable product that will test it in the market. And even from there, you're going to use a very lean startup approach to validating it, invalidating it, key milestone points, so you don't waste money and you're always checking in with that changing attitudes of customers and making sure the tech is on spot.
I often hear this lean startup approach being spoken about in the entrepreneurial community. Does lean mean cheap?
No.
I just wanted to check. What's your perspective on what a lean startup approach is?
It just means that it's just taking those little steps forward, and it is actually just about minimising your risk. So you just want to be able to take little steps without, massively injecting a huge amount of money into something that you're going to put at risk there. This enables you just to take those small steps of validating and invalidating all the way along in the process.
And so, therefore, in taking these steps when you're developing technology, that's a good way also to bring investors along in the journey. Is the data also then you can use that as a tool for investors?
Absolutely. I always feel so sorry for investors even because, we have some terrific guys out there that pitch beautifully. But, again, the science can show you what you may not want to invest in.
And I think that then challenges emotional investors.
That's right. Exactly.
We all love certain ideas. We all are attracted to certain ideas. But really, when you're investing your money or others' money, it needs to be, I think it should be based on data or solid market relevance.
Exactly. Totally agree.
So, Linda, you do speak a lot about data and science, but how does this actually work?
So it's something that's been new to me in the last few years as well. So I had a strategic marketing background, and when I got dissatisfied with strategy development, and I wanted to be able to help companies that, after we did the market research on them, there was many that we could tell we were only just like polishing up and they wouldn't survive past 2 years, and that didn't sit really well with me. So I went on a bit of a journey and I met a company called Growth Science, which I ended up being the CEO of up until last year. And what excited me about Growth Science was the data science research that I think I previously mentioned to you. It has evolved into what's called the minimise computing system, which is this computing system that predicts whether a startup or an innovation is likely to live or die.
That's powerful.
The statistics are fantastic. They're taking traditional fail rates of 70 to 90% to success rates of average of 67%. So it's not perfect, but it's going a long way that can make a big difference. So having worked with Growth Science for just over 4 years, I still sit on the board of Growth Science, but I'm able to use the science that I've learned at Growth Science and apply it to everyday businesses that, for me, are the backbone of every economy.
Absolutely.
So just Australia alone, we've got 70% of employment is through these everyday businesses and 46% of our GDP. Now, they deserve to survive and thrive.
And have access to the science
right.
and the data.
That's right. So that's my little passion, I guess, is how can I, and what's wonderful is in the old marketing strategy sphere, we would take months to market research companies. Now, using the data science, we can actually cut those months down to days and have so much more accuracy, pinpoint accuracy as to where that opportunity is. And we can augment ideas that have proven to heighten their success in the marketplace.
And when you were learning about the data, did it challenge what you had previously learned through your career when it came to marketing and marketing strategy?
Oh my God, yes. I wish I had it way back in my corporate
You had to unlearn
days.
what you had learned previously.
It's probably been the biggest challenge. So some of the findings from the research are counterintuitive to everything we have as marketers or business strategy people. It challenges you. So, up until recently, I had to unlearn my natural tendency to the way I thought, whereas, yes, I think I've got it now down pat. So
I'm curious, previously, when as a marketer in marketing, when you approached a problem or an idea, how is that different to how you approach it now?
So for example, the biggest takeout for me from the research was that if we are a new entrant into a market, and there's lots of incumbents that are doing the same job that you're doing, that your startup's going to do, I know that I've only got a 14% probability that I'll survive.
That's low.
Very low. However, I can increase those odds if I apply some of the science. So if I can use a low end or a latent demand strategy, after I've found out where the mainstream bases of competition are, so those things that customers most want, need, value, care about, those things that are most influential within a customer base, within that value chain of the thing that you want to accomplish, if we can launch ideas in that mainstream basis of competition at a low end or a latent demand strategy approach, our odds go up to 67%.
It comes back to understanding the customer and not assuming
that's right.
that we know what the customer wants.
That's right. And the great thing is that our revenue line isn't incremental, it's transformative.
That's what we all want.
That's right.
For it to go exponentially.
That's
absolutely.
right. So it's just a different way of thinking than probably I had done previously. So there's some cues that you listen to as to how they believe that idea is going to be launched and what it's going to do. But so that changed my life.
Look, it's impactful to hear that it's challenged you.
That's right.
But we all need to be challenged, particularly when we're on an entrepreneurial journey or looking to make a change that leads to our sustainability and relevance.
Right.
So does the data and the science, does that apply not only to the everyday businesses, as you say, but also tech startups, scale-ups and larger enterprises?
Oh, it applies to everybody, to be honest. And it doesn't matter whether it's a new product that's not got technology. It's across everything.
It's across the board. Wonderful.
It is, yes.
And we've heard that you're launching a book within the next 12 months. So what is the message you're wanting to put out there to the public that's a game changer?
Well, I guess it's not too different to what we've talked about today, and that is how can data and science actually improve outcomes for small, medium businesses, those everyday businesses, the family businesses, the not-for-profits. And it's simple, just a simple message everyone can apply to their ideas. So hopefully we can get more people being more confident about launching their ideas.
Absolutely. And
So,
there's beauty and simplicity.
That's right.
So thank you, Linda, for joining on Tomorrow's Tech. We really appreciate your time.
Thank you.
And thank you, everyone, for our viewers, for joining in. Feel free to follow us on our social media and keep track of our next episodes. See you next time.